So aside from the text, the first thing ELA teachers usually add to a reading activity is audio and or visual, so spoken text and videos. We usually find that we need audio excerpts for some activities, such as Mercutio's Queen Mab speech, in order to help students understand the inflection and passion in his voice. Sometimes we need the video to properly identify setting. Drone footage of the Canadian wilderness helps students fully grasp Brian's isolation in Hatchet. We all know that YouTube is a great resource to find a lot of this. And as we're looking for audio, we can find that excerpt of the Queen Mab speech with options from various productions. And we can even get the audio from complete novels like Hatchet, conveniently broken down into chapters along the side. So as for visual, we can get snippets of work such as Atticus's closing argument in To Kill a Mockingbird to fully realize the tension and mood in the courtroom, or even that drone footage of the Canadian lakes to see what Brian's environment was like. So we know that YouTube has a lot for us. Let's take a look at some of the alternative audio and visual resources that we might check out as we're building our interactive lessons. Okay, so the first one we're going to take a look at is called learnoutloud.com, and they have kind of a fun story, beginner story. They are based out of Los Angeles, and they got kind of sick of their commute and created a website designed for people to listen, to be able to listen to like audiobooks or whatever they want to do and kind of learn during their commutes here in Los Angeles. So they have, as it says right in the middle of the screen there, over free courses, audiobooks, and documentaries. It's really nice. You'll just search for a particular author or work or whatever you'd like to do. I searched Martin Luther King Jr., and we get kind of a whole website just devoted to Dr. King here with all of his different speeches and some video excerpts and things like that. So learnoutloud.com is a great resource for documentaries and for audio if you wanted something that might not be on YouTube. So our next one is called Lit2Go. It's a really basic site, but really nice because they have all of these authors that you can choose from. And if you tap on one of them, almost all of them have at least one work where you can get the audio. So I looked up Lewis Carroll. Obviously he does, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And when you tap it and you click on chapter 1, it actually will give you the written or the spoken word for the book. And it isn't a computer, it's an actual person, which is really nice. And as it goes through, the text is here for the students as well. So you can actually keep that on the board. So the next resource I wanted to just remind everybody about, and we all know it's there, but sometimes we forget how useful it can be, and that is PBS. So here in the United States, we do have PBS, similar to maybe BBC, but literature, for English language arts at least, we have literature, informational texts, reading foundational skills, writing, speaking and listening language, and so on. What's really nice is we can filter by grade level, and then we can also filter by resource type. So I'm not probably going to come back to this in the other videos for resources, but just remember they have interactive lessons and interactives. They have whole lesson plans for us, especially with writing. They have really good writing lessons for us. Media galleries, audios, images, documents, web pages, and collections. So if you want to go to something like 912 and then video, you can do that, and you can kind of see what types of videos they have out there. And, it'll just keep saying show more resources, and you just keep going down and finding more resources to bring into your lesson. So don't always, keep that in mind, this PBS learning media, especially for education and teachers. So not the last one. The next one we're going to take a look at is Internet Archive. I've mentioned it before in videos. It's a really nice curation of web, text, video, audio, software, and images. So I searched Harlem Renaissance here, and it's giving me all of sorts of texts, but it's also going to give me some video. It's going to give me some audio. This particular one is Benny Carter. So you can actually listen to the music right from here. You can also, I pulled up the 1940s jazz classics, and you can just link to this and be able to play that and let the students listen to the music of the time. This is also kind of fun, especially if there's not really any words, to put on lightly
while they are doing work throughout the unit. So if you want to get them into jazz during a 1920s unit, maybe with F. Scott Fitzgerald or whatever you might be teaching in the 1920s era, the Roaring 20s, just throw on some light jazz throughout that unit and let them kind of get into it and listen to it. So the last one I did want to point out was TED Ed. It's still here. It still exists. So it's TED, but for education. And what a lot of these are lessons that have been designed by teachers, and then TED comes in and helps them with the visual. So for instance, we can tap on the Greek tragedy of Oedipus, and you not only get an introduction on Oedipus, but you actually get multiple choice questions. You can get additional resources, and even you can get you can start a discussion with your students on what really happened to Oedipus on this particular one. So those are 5 resources that I wanted to share with you: the Learn Out Loud, the Lit to Go, the PBS, the Internet Archive, and the TEDx. So I hope you can find these and see maybe some of them might be valuable. You might maybe refresh some lessons with some of the resources that you see in here. So now that we've explored some audio and visual ideas, let's take a look at some image resources that you might want to incorporate into your lesson.